How's it going? How's it going?
That was really nice welcoming. I like that. I feel like a director. I want to start telling people what to do.
Hola.
Your fans are all here. We're so
Howdy.
excited for We the Kings to be here, right, guys?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a mutual feeling. We're excited for you guys to be here.
Well, you guys have had an exciting trip here into New York already. You've done something that most of us have not gotten the chance to do, and that is to see Hamilton.
Yes.
You could tell.
There was a
I knew
gasp.
it's so funny every time that people are like, "Oh, you guys got to see Hamilton." It's not like it's never how was it or like it's always just how on earth did you get tickets?
Yeah, and tell us, how on earth did you get tickets and how can we get them?
Here's the secret. Start a band.
You cover the
Next.
song from
Write a couple songs, and then you have to pick one of their songs that you want to do a rendition of, okay? And then you give it and service it to all these different radio stations. Once they start playing it around the country as much as possible, you're going to get to the point where you get different press inquiries, and then Lin-Manuel Miranda, who's the writer of that show, reaches out to you and says, "Hey, come see the musical." And then you say, I could probably make some time for it. Sure, you got to play it cool. You can't be like, yes. So then you go, and that's kind of how you do it. So you
I think
start
somebody
so
was
simple,
actually
super
writing
easy.
that down. Somebody was like, okay,
got that.
Lin-Manuel,
next,
am I spelling that right? Lin-Manuel?
It's
Okay.
very easy.
taking notes. I love that.
So did it live up to the expectations?
It
Absolutely.
blew away any expectation that we had. It was just from start to finish. Oh, the pageantry, the lyrics, the melody, everything was so well done and so tight. And I'm sure like now they're in that span that we get in, like once we start like halfway through the tour, we're very tight and everybody's like on the same page. And I'm sure they're at that point now, but it was perfect. Like there wasn't anything about it that was unappealing or anything like that. And then to make matters even better, we got to go backstage and see like the inner workings and talk with Lynn and some of the other cast and just say like, you are awesome.
I'm hearing like a lot of scoff.
Some angry people out here.
People are getting upset at us
What?
for what we just went through.
Might be
No, but
losing
it
fans
really
right
was an amazing play. Like, I mean, there's like, it's hilarious. You're laughing at times. There was a weird part where somebody started cutting onions in the theater, so I started crying. You know, that's why I was crying.
Not because of what was on the
No.
stage,
It was the
but because
onions.
somebody brought
No.
in
Even on the
onions and started
I don't
slicing.
get that emotional.
Rude.
It was the onions. So
But to back up a little bit, you mentioned that you covered a song, The Story of Tonight.
Yes.
Tell me why that song really resonated with you all and why you wanted to cover it.
Well, this will actually be very exciting for you guys who haven't been able to get tickets. So we went to the show about a couple months ago, and because we're from Florida, we're not really sure how the Broadway circuit kind of facilitates it. It's people that come to watch the show. So we go and we do this whole thing. We're like, we heard Hamilton's like the biggest Broadway ever, and we want to go see it. We're like, hey, let's go check it out tonight. So we go to the box office, and we're like, we'd like 5 seats directly next to each other in a very good sitting area for tonight. And they laughed at us, and they were like, we have that available in 13 months, and then we still can't get you guys sitting next to each other. So we were like, oh my God. So then we went home, and we started listening to all the music, and there was a song that stuck out to us. It was so inspiring to our own journey, which was The Story of Tonight. And it's a song that they actually do throughout the play in different versions. And once we saw the play, it connected it in a totally new and unique way to us because the story is about Alexander Hamilton and the legacy that he left. And We the Kings, in a way, has our own legacy that we want to pass on to our fans. We want to pass on to our families and things like that. So you just start kind of thinking about all the amazing adventures that you've been on, that you've been so blessed to be able to do. And that's kind of like why the song meant so much to us, is because it inspired us to want to inspire more.
That's great to hear. I mean, how do you turn a song into, hip-hop song, whatever, into a rock song and a pop song? How does that work for you guys?
I don't know. It's probably the hardest thing that we've had to do because the actual Broadway is dramatized. So it's like, I may not live to see our glory. I may not live. And it's like this whole thing. And we're like, how can we turn that into a pop song? And so
you should be in the play. That was
What was that?
was
One more time, Trav.
amazing.
secretly hoping that Lynn is seeing this and sees my potential.
I am enchanted. I kind of want to go sit down there and watch the rest of this.
I know some of the moves. So
I want to hear the rest of it.
You know some of the
Welcome,
moves?
welcome.
What a treasure, you guys. If you wouldn't mind.
See something?
Please, my goodness.
Let's do it.
There-
You guys
There's
want
not
to
a-
see a
there's
couple
not a
moves
lot
from
of,
Travis? You want to see a couple moves?
Come on, guys.
I would too.
Let's
It's live.
I'm not going to
maybe
share my
next
gift today on the stage. No, I'm kidding.
That's okay.
You know, I don't know how to segue from that. So I'm going to go ahead and pass it back to you.
Pass it back to me. So, just seeing you guys interact just now, I mean, you've been together since middle school. I mean, what's that like? And really, right?
We have, yeah.
It's pretty
Yes, we have.
amazing. I mean, talk a little bit about that and the camaraderie among you guys. And so many bands break up after so many years, but you're together 10 years and counting, really.
Actually, Hunter and I date back to elementary school,
Yes.
in which I had a rat tail
It
that
was so cool.
2 feet long. I don't know why.
I love that.
Gross.
That's soundbite.
Yeah, believe me, it was just as popular back then. But I think you used to run up and like kind of tug on it and like giggle and stuff, just like everyone else.
And
But
needless
yeah.
to say, they were best friends.
Yeah. That story I thought was going to be buried in the past, but Hunter knows about it
Yes,
because he's known me since elementary school, and
And
weird times.
We, for a lot of the We the Kings fans and friends and family know that we actually named the band We the Kings because of our middle school, which was King Middle School, which is where we all kind of started playing our own instruments and figured out that like maybe the only way that we can get girlfriends is if we start a band. Which is totally true. I'm not even just saying that. It was this. I remember the very first show I went to was Blink-182, Green Day, and Jimmy Eat World. Amazing bands, right? It was an amazing tour.
Yeah.
And I remember sitting there, and I could tell you the seat that I sat in the arena. Like it's that just engraved in my brain. But the first 7 rows it was all girls, and they were all throwing their clothes up on stage. And so as a middle school kid, I'm like, I totally know what I have to do. And so I went home and I called Hunter. I was like, we have to start a band tomorrow. He was like,
Hello?
what? And we did. And so we were like, what do we do? And I was like, I think we just tell people that we're in a band. I don't know. Do we have to write music? I don't know what we do. But then after like a couple of weeks, we were just like, well, we need at least one song. And so we started writing. And then one song became 2 songs. Then we realized like we actually loved being in a band. And then the girlfriends, it took a while. It wasn't like an instant
Almost 10 years.
thing. Yeah. Some of us are still working on it.
Well,
Oh, right
Yeah,
under the
we
bus,
all
you
we all
guys.
totally have girlfriends now. And
Yeah.
So
after the AOL build, you might.
oh, there we go.
I mean, a lot of people are watching. So.
There we go. Well,
But yeah.
I'll set out some applications. And,
Yeah. Online dating. There's apps.
Just
there's
all they gotta do is tweet you.
yeah.
We actually thought about creating an app just for Danny. Like
So instead of like Tinder, just Dinder. Like, you go straight to me. I'm the only one you swipe on. The worst.
Just different
app
pictures of you.
ever.
Well, aside from you, all of you all really have girls in your lives now. So the dream really came true.
It did.
I have 2 girls.
Should I still be on
2
the
girls.
stage
Sorry.
because you're
for
a
this
dad
question?
now.
Should I get off?
That sounds weird. I just realized how weird that sounded.
That kind of hurt me.
I have my wife and my beautiful baby girl, who's 15 weeks today. So thank you very much. So I shouldn't have blurted I have 2 girls right off the bat without any context. And Coley also has a son. So let me know if you guys think this is cool. We have decided to force our children into becoming a band. So us as We the Kings, we're going to create a band for them called The We Kings, W-E-E. And we're really, it's getting off the ground now. I think in 18 years it's really going to hit, but we're going to give them the option to become rock stars themselves.
I love it. They're budding. They're young. They're ready to go, and they have you guys as role models. So they're all set.
True.
Every parent's always like, yeah, I want my kid to grow into their own and to do what they want to do. And Coley and I, we just kind of talked and we decided like we would like to not give them that freedom
Here's a
and
drum
those
set. Start
choices.
working.
And so
Here's
we're
your
just-
music room. You're going to spend the next 8 hours in here.
Yep.
Enjoy.
Don't come out until it's perfect.
Well, having a family is tricky when when you're on the road. You guys are doing the Warped Tour this summer. How are you going to navigate all of that?
I think it's different for everybody because
We usually
we
bring
all
them
have
on the
family
road
that
with
we
us.
missed, back at home. And Charles is right. Like we try to fly them out as much as possible and hope that they come out and don't wreak havoc. But I know for the girlfriends and wives, they understand what we do and they support it. And for Coley and I, having kids, it's kind of like an ironic twist. Like you would think that you'd want to be home more, to live every moment, and to like just to see your child. But when you think about if I work, I can give my child the things that we never had growing up. It changes your kind of mindset to being like I'll do anything it takes and I will work forever to give them the life that I never had. And I think that's what makes us tour. And it does make it at least doable for us to be on the road for so long.
I think I can chime in on this question because I have a dog. He's my son.
Yes. Who's adorable.
It's difficult. It's a lot of texting, FaceTiming, a lot of resolve, on situations that
Got
are
him his own
petty.
phone.
Yeah. Situations that are petty. All right, a couple of you got that one.
You threw it out there.
Yeah. Dog. Yeah, you got it.
And we have a recently engaged person on stage as well, so congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Man, we're all just so happy up here, huh?
Yeah, it's a lot of love.
Lots to celebrate. When you were kids, you were younger, you snuck into the Warped Tour, essentially, right?
We did,
Yeah.
and we were always scared to tell that story because now that we are actually contracted to perform on the Warped Tour, we're like, oh my gosh, what if Kevin Lyman, who runs the tour and owns it, what if he finds out that we snuck into our very first Warped Tour without paying for tickets? We told him, and we were kind of shy and nervous about it, and he was like, that's pretty awesome. I got to admit, that's pretty awesome. We made fake tour passes, and we don't suggest anybody do this, first of all. We made fake tour passes, and I remember we got on our cell phones and just walked by security, and I remember we were like, no, the speakers have to be on stage right now, literally right now, and none of the security, we were these little kids, and for whatever reason, none of the security ever said anything. They never questioned our credentials or anything. I've never seen anything like it, but we got to see our favorite tours, even though we didn't have the money to actually pay for a ticket.
That's awesome.
There's the headline for this entire thing. Travis Clark teaches you how to sneak into a show.
Yes.
Right
the
there.
Running theme.
Yeah.
Theme from Hamilton to the Warped Tour.
Totally gonna get in trouble for something I say up here.
Well, you talked a little bit more about, the Hamilton song and doing that. How does that songwriting process, I know you didn't write that, but how does that process work for you all? Are you writing from home? Are you in the studio? How do you all come together to put together an album?
Well, we're now we're separated so much. We tour about 10 months of the year, so we are constantly on the road, living in closer quarters than you guys could ever imagine. It's a 12-person tour bus, and there's 12 people on it, so we do get to write music and work on that as far as fleshing stuff out. But as far as the writing process and recording, we actually do it from different parts of the country. So I live in Los Angeles, and I'll do my parts there. Coley's in Connecticut, so he does his parts there. Danny will record drums. If he doesn't come out to LA for it, he'll actually do it in Florida. And the other guys record from their own homes. So it's a little unorthodox the way we do it, but it works, and we've been able to put out 5 albums, which is something that a lot of bands unfortunately can't say, and we've stuck together since middle school.
By the way, this would never happen in the 70s. You know what I mean? Could you imagine that? Just emailing a part to be a part of the record all the way across
was
the
email?
country? Yeah, right. Exactly.
70. Let's talk about 50, horseback.
I'm sending you 50 reels of tape. I need you to record onto this.
Once the guy gets there on horse, send him back. Let me know what you think.
Didn't like it. Send it back.
It's a whole different world now. I mean, you could be in totally different studios, Pro Tools, whatever. You don't need anything. You just have the technology. But then you come together, you play it live, and it's a whole different thing. It's a whole different
Auto-tune. You don't even have to sing, really.
Yeah, really. I mean, you're auto-tune,
You
Travis,
just hit
right?
play. It goes.
Kidding.
I still really try to sing very well. We actually, a lot of the songs we've written in the future, or that we will write in the future, but also have written for these past albums, have actually been written on the road. So they've actually been written in random cities, just when we have an off day and we have a hotel, and we'll just start working on something. We've written a couple songs in Australia, just kind of whenever we have the time. So ironically, the majority of the time, we're actually not writing at home. We're just kind of taking that brief moment to sit there and just decompress.
I remember everyone writing Runaway, and I think it was Malaysia and Singapore.
Yeah.
I think that's when you guys just started.
In a stairwell.
Yeah, it was like.
Yeah, lightning strikes at random.
Yeah, I remember that.
That's cool. You can get inspiration from anywhere, right? I mean, you were pining for girls when you were younger. You formed the band essentially because you wanted to get shirts thrown at you on stage.
Not even essentially, just 100% the
100%.
only reason.
And now you have the girls, well, most of you. How
Keeps
has
coming
that
back.
changed your approach to writing or inspiration, or are you still getting the inspiration from the same sort of place?
I don't want to throw you under the bus, but I feel like I've been cornered into this thing, and I'm like a rat. I have to chew my way out. We are able to still write about heartbreak because
Yeah, Charles.
No, truthfully, we do write a lot about our adventures and our journeys, and there is a lot of romance that is kind of the underlying theme of a lot of our music. And I think it's just when you grow and you do find someone to love, you're able to love them in so many different ways, and there's so many different forms of love. And I think that's why we've continued to be able, even though as like the main songwriter, like I can present an idea to the band and say like, hey, I'd like to write about this, and it's totally understandable. And it's not like that first exciting love. It's like almost a deeper love, and it's an adventurous love, and it's all these different things that you can write about and continue to evolve as songwriters, as musicians. And we've been able, luckily, to continue not to get stuck in that writer's block where so many people fall and just can't figure out how to write themselves out of it.
Now they have children too. It's a whole different level.
Yeah.
No,
So
that
if we start
changes
writing like lullabies and stuff like that,
Children's album next year, 2016, 2017.
you'll understand why at least.
So your last album came out 2015. We have this Hamilton cover, which is awesome.
Yep.
Are you thinking ahead to the next album?
Always. And whether we're doing it or not,
Songwriting doesn't stop.
Yeah, we're always writing, always thinking of ideas.
Yeah, he
That's
kind of
good.
said it perfectly, where lightning does strike in random places, but also at random times. So,
Yeah, like
you know-
people think that you sit in a studio and you're like, okay, we start now, let's do the album. But really, like, just I see them constantly writing. Like today, even like on the tour bus, an idea can pop up and they'll just start laying it down. And eventually, you get in the studio and just combine all these ideas and work through all the different, cut the fat off of different ones, and then make it work. But yeah, it's just constantly going on. So.
That's great. And you talked a little bit about your inspirations like Green Day, Blink-182, you mentioned early on. Who else are your inspirations, and who are you listening to today?
I think everybody would give you a different band.
Yeah?
So if you want to run through it.
Yeah, let's run through
Yeah.
it.
Ooh, this is
I
a lot of
listen to
pressure.
some stuff still from like older stuff like Strung Out, the Beatles, Good Riddance, AFI. I think we're all over the place.
Yeah.
I like drum heavy bands, so I'm kind of towards metal. I like metal bands. They're really like they feature the drummer and stuff like that. So
My mom was a big like Beatles fanatic, so she was a singer-songwriter and kind of taught me how to play guitar. And the first song she ever taught me was Blackbird by the Beatles. So I kind of went, yeah.
Ooh, we got applause for that one.
I kind of went
big
down
Blackbird
that
fans.
road for a while, and then I found like the pop punk stuff with Jimmy Eat World and Blink-182 and Green Day, and just fell in love.
I like artists who are writers, who are engineers on every facet of the business. So I'm going to say Butch Walker. It's probably one of my favorites.
Yeah, I grew up with the Beatles stuff, and then I really got into like Leonard Skinner, like, because my dad used to listen to that stuff, and I just love that rock guitar sound. So
That's cool because you have all different influences infiltrating into the band, into one band. It's awesome.
Yeah, what's amazing is that like even now, just hearing those list of artists, none of them sound like We the Kings at all.
Yeah, right.
somebody who's never heard of us, they're like, oh, so they're like a metal Leonard Skinner Beatles. That's pretty cool.
Exactly.
Which is not even
Dream-
close.
Dream Team. It's a Dream
Yeah.
Team band. Oh my goodness. Well, looking forward, what can we expect? We're going to see you on the Warped Tour.
yes,
We, like I said, we tour 10 months of the year, so we're currently on tour now. We're playing tonight at the Gramercy Theater, and we do a couple of different college shows. We're actually playing on a train in Napa Valley.
Wine
Really?
Train.
Yeah, a wine train, so it's like wine and cheese, and I think they expect us not to drink the wine because I can't imagine how we're going to perform that show.
Sir, you're supposed to spit it
spit
out.
it out,
when you
yeah, I was
sample
gonna
it.
Exactly.
Huh?
Taste it.
Oh,
So we're doing that, which is really exciting because now there's all these cruise ships that you can go on and listen to bands. Like it's truly like planes, trains, automobiles type of touring. So we'll do the Warped Tour, supporting the story of tonight. We have another song called Sad Song that's a really beautiful ballad that we'll be presenting to the radio industry, and then we'll support that and probably do a fall tour. We're coming up very close. So our very first album was October 2nd of 2007. And it became a trend to do the 10-year reunion tour of that album, where you play that album in its entirety, either from cover to cover or just mix up the songs, but you still play everything. So in 2017, I know we're looking a little further ahead, but in
Yeah.
2017, we're going to do that tour, which is our 10-year reunion tour of the album that had Check Yes Juliet on it, which was, the song that inevitably started everything for us.
Awesome. Well, that's going to be a great kind of 10-year reunion thing. We look
It
forward
will,
to
yeah.
that. And thank you so much for coming in. But before we go, we have some questions from the guests here, and we'd
Alrighty.
love to hear some other questions.
Nice.
Hi guys.
Hello.
Thank you all for coming in. So back in 2008, when you guys played at Warped Tour. That was my first concert.
Oh, awesome.
And you guys, I discovered you guys at that show, and here we are 10 years later, and you guys are here, which is incredible. I'm looking forward to the new record. So having the both experience of touring with multiple bands versus just having a tour, your own personal tour, do you guys prefer one over the other?
I'm going to go on record as saying I think 2008 Warped Tour was one of my favorite tours of all time, so that's amazing that you were there. So are you asking what's our favorite band, or do we prefer like festivals over the club tours? Gotcha. So festivals over club tours. It's hard to say. It's hard to say because there's more people to like kind of hang out with, discover, and meet on the festival tours, and by design they're larger crowds. But I think there's something more intimate about the club tours. Like for instance, what we're on right now, what we're going to be playing at the Gramercy Theater. It's kind of more intimate, more.
One-on-one.
It's a better experience because everybody is there for you. Right. I don't know if that's my ego talking or if it's just like what it is. But
you also get to design the show. So, when you play a festival, it's usually the middle of the day, which sucks for redheads. And you don't get lights, you don't get anything. You usually get like a 30-minute, stage time or whatever. With these tours, we rehearsed and we developed this amazing, not only the music, but the lights and the kind of the events that are happening on stage, and you get a little more creative freedom to do that kind of stuff. So both, like Danny said, have their pros and cons. The pros being for a festival that you get to like see amazing artists, and we get to say that we've played with Iron Maiden in Australia, and which is a band that we would never ever tour with probably. And then
Probably.
I don't know. I gotta leave room for growth. I don't
Get Bruce on the horn.
Yeah. But the club tours are really nice because it is more about the actual headlining artist and their show, and that's what we're doing now. So we have this really amazing show that we've put together and spent a lot of hours figuring out how we want to do it, and that stuff you don't necessarily need to do with festivals.
Great.
Hi guys, I'm actually coming to see you tonight.
Awesome.
Super
Yes,
excited.
Danny will go on a date with you.
Right.
Yeah, I told you.
But
Dinder is working.
my question is for each of you, where is your favorite place to play?
I'll say Australia. I love it over there.
I'm going to say Chicago. I love that city.
Hometown. Anytime we go home, you get to, it's work, but it's an excuse to see your family again. So really anywhere in Florida, because our family just ends up showing up wherever we play.
I'm going to take this one out of the pandering handbook, and my favorite is New York City.
Waiting for that. Mine's a toss-up between Hometown Show and Zurich, Switzerland, I think.
Zurich is awesome.
Zurich is awesome. I love it over there. Hometown's always fun, but it's really nerve-wracking. I think it's the most stressful because those are the ones where your family can come and they actually can say that you suck, and it really means it.
Yeah.
Like, it really sucks, like, when you hear that. From your
And they also, every venue in our hometown has
you
yelled
suck
at us.
tonight. Sorry, Dad.
It's an awkward Thanksgiving.
Every venue in our hometown has yelled at us at some point for our guest list because here's how my mom works. My mom works, if she were here and our show's sold out tonight, which it is at the Gramercy Theater, my mom would invite every one of you guys to be on the guest list for the New York City show. And she'd be like, no, they're friends with my son, and they're with me, so give them stick. And then the venue would yell at us because my mom's bringing in. She's like, yeah, you have 23 family members. I was like, I don't even think I have 4 family members. I think that's the limit. And it's
She's
just,
got a big heart. She's sweet.
yes, I don't want to take the obvious away from her that she is filled with love and the sweetest woman ever, but she likes to guest list anybody and everybody.
And your biggest fan, apparently.
Yes, exactly. And she is our biggest fan.
I think we have another question out here.
Hi, thanks for being here.
Thank you.
I'm a huge fan of yours. My question is, since you guys travel so often and you guys are together talking about the tour bus and rooming together, do you guys play any pranks on each other or have any funny stories?
I think this whole
that
thing's been a
would-
prank on Danny.
Yes.
The entire time.
Yeah, you're seeing it live here. But something that we've developed, it's really weird. I'm going to preface that, but we have this thing where we just blatantly lie to the other person for the sole purpose of watching their face as they
The
kind
reaction.
of figure it out. And we call it fish hooking. Like, you would just be like, got a fish on. Oh, he believed the lie. It's really dumb, but you would just say a blatant lie to somebody for the sake of them believing it.
This is a perfect example.
When you say it out loud like that, it's really messed up. But
It gets
I promise
me every
it's fun.
time.
Mine.
we have a I don't want to say gang sign because it's not a gang sign, but we have like our band sign that the fans hold is like the W like that, but it's also used for other things like the whatever. And Jennifer Lawrence posted a picture yesterday, so this was the latest thing. Jennifer Lawrence posted J-Law, my girl, posted a picture of her doing this for National Water Day, I believe it was.
Yeah.
And we saw it, and we screenshotted it, edited out the captions, and sent it to the rest of the band. And Danny and I were like, because we were the ones that came to New York City, we're like, oh my God, Jennifer Lawrence is here at the Hamilton show with us. It's crazy. We got her to do the We the Kings sign. And everyone of them was like,
I think Charles spent like
Jennifer
how
Lawrence
long
has
did you
been
spend
Polish
trying to
crush
figure out
forever.
if
That's
it
my
was real?
celebrity
I
crush.
figured it out. I went nerd factor. I
So-
took all the metadata out of that.
So
I got
these guys
super
are
nerdy.
freaking out like, I missed my chance to meet my celebrity crush. Like, this is awful. And then,
I think
oh my
Chloe
gosh, we're
was-
sitting next to her too. So like, you just kind of like build this crazy lie. And to your best friends, until they get to a breaking point where they just start losing their mind, and then they realize, wait, there's no way that's true. It can't be. And then they find out, and then they feel stupid because they believe the lie.
Oh man.
It's a horrible prank. It's
hilarious.
not even a prank. It's just like it's something
You were
horrible
actually
we do.
searching. Charles was searching Google yesterday for that picture to find out if it was a lie or not. We're
Yeah,
like,
but-
it cannot
So,
be.
so for instance, Charles was a fish on a hook.
Yes.
I was
We
official
got him.
for like 30 seconds, and then I went on our website or Facebook, and then I noticed.
And that's kind of all we do. That's like in between the bands. We've always been fans of bands who prank other bands. So I think one of our best ones was one of the bands that was on tour. We painted their van while they were on stage.
While they were on stage, yeah.
The Scooby-Doo mystery wagon. We spray painted
The whole
their,
thing.
Their very expensive van. We thought we upgraded it, but while they were on stage, so they came out to the Scooby-Doo wagon.
Oh my gosh. I love it.
They were pumped, I think, because they respected us.
Yeah, but that
But I think they're
lawsuit is
really-
still pending.
Yeah.
we're gonna figure that out. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh my gosh. Well, I think we have one more question. One last question. Yes.
Hi guys.
Hi.
I'm also from Sarasota, and We the Kings
Sweet.
was my first concert in 2009.
Oh, wow.
So this is really crazy. But my question for all of you is, how did you initially develop the sound of your music? Because yes, I don't know if you started out with song lyrics and then added music, but how did you decide what you wanted the sound of your band to be like?
That's a really good. I don't know
That's
if
a good
we've ever
question.
been asked that question. I don't think we've ever sat down and said like, "Hey, we want to sound like this," or even chose a band that we wanted to sound like. We just Hunter grabbed a guitar, Coley grabbed a piano, Danny grabbed a drum kit, Charles with a bass, and we were like, let's just kind of try to write a song and see what happens. And it just organically kind of became that style music. I think the best answer is that it's really who we are. Like, we love upbeat music. We're all hopeless romantics, and so that's where the lyricists or the lyrics come from. And then like the style of music is literally just what we wanted to play at that time, and it just so happens to work together, you know. And I know there are a lot of bands who are very musically talented individually that don't work together as a band, and I think it's always been our biggest asset that none of us are the best at what we do individually, but together with our chemistry from growing up together, we build as an amazing band together. And if one of us isn't there, it's not the same thing. So I think that's how we found our sound, was just what we did together as a band.
It's also kind of to piggyback on an earlier answer. Like, you go based off your influences, say like Jimmy Eat World, Blink 182, and then
Subconscious.
then you all get in a room and you just start playing. And anybody who's started a band knows this feeling. Like, something starts to kind of mesh together, and you do that thing where you all look at each other and do a little nod.
Yeah.
And slowly and surely, songs they start to build. And just based on that connection alone, the sound kind of finds itself. With a mix of your influences and just being in the moment and playing the
It's
song.
like intuition as well. Like, we've been all playing together for a long time, so we kind of know what the other person's going to do before they even can do it.
Yeah.
So.
Well, whatever you guys are doing, it's working. So thank you so
So
much
don't
for coming in
change
today.
anything.
Let's give it up for We the Kings.
Thank you guys.
Thank you. Thank you guys.